In 3, 2.
Hello.
Oh.
Yeah, I guess. Now, hello, everybody, and welcome to this episode of Top 90 Podcast. We are live here in studio. Thanks for joining us. Yeah, and we have one person joining us, and hopefully some other people jump on and listen to us. My name's Garrett,
I'm Rich.
and so we are about 2.5 weeks or so away from the end of the season, and the NHL playoff race in the East is still not really fully in scope. Vegas is kind of running away with the second wild card spot in the West. But there's still some hockey to be played, and things are starting to really pan out, and there's a couple teams that have been eliminated. Mathematically, they're done. Chicago, Ottawa, San Jose, to name a few. And then there's still some teams that are fighting for a playoff spot. St. Louis is 6 points out in the West for the last playoff spot, for the last wild card spot, 6 games back of Vegas. And right now, the Islanders, it's basically the East is a race between the last play for the third overall in the Metro or the second wild card spot, because Tampa's pretty much going to win that first wild card spot.
They're 7-0-1 in their last 8. They're on fire.
Tampa's been playing really, really well. They made some moves at the deadline to get better, to get a little bit deeper.
It worked.
And
Duclair's been he's been amazing.
Yeah, he's fit in perfectly over there. And Tampa, say what you want about their ability to dance around the salary cap, but they just are a well-oiled machine.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I mean, and no matter what they do outside or inside of the salary cap parameters, their core is still it's still that good. Where between Kucherov, Hedman, Stamkos, and
Braden Point.
And then also freaking his fucking name is escaping me. Or you guys are gonna kill me. The goalie. Fucking Vasilevsky, yeah. I don't know why I wanted to say Javi Bolin, because I'm thinking,
well, they're both Stanley Cup winning goalies.
Yeah. So I mean
that Lightning.
Yeah, that core, it's easy to build some pieces around that core. But I mean, whatever they bring in and whatever they subtract, it always works.
Yeah, I have a theory. When Nikita Kucherov wants to win, they're going to win. That's my theory.
Yeah.
I feel the same way about like Braden Point.
Mm-hmm.
Those guys go into such a mode when they're out there.
Yeah.
Especially
when they're
playoffs. That's when they're their best.
Braden Point in the playoffs, that guy, I mean, his name is just Point.
Yeah. Well, throughout the years,
on point.
It's the same thing. Even when the Lightning have had struggles during the regular season and some guys slump, it's always the same. They step up in the playoffs. Yeah. These are guys they're gamers. They know how to win. A lot of them have.
Yep.
And it's what they do. And anyone who thinks that they're not a favorite in the East right now, because they're not haven't been running the gauntlet all year,
and you know what though,
is sorely mistaken.
And there were a couple seasons where Tampa was just running through the regular season, and then they didn't have it in the playoffs. And then they had these miraculous fall shorts. And then there were a couple seasons that, when they started to win, they had the 2 in a row. They had they were going back for a third one. They weren't blowing through the regular season, and I think it was one of those things where they realized you don't win the Stanley Cup in the regular season. Just get in. Just be healthy. Just get there gelling.
Right.
And, those guys, like you said, they turn it on. They know when to turn it on. And and when they do, it's just insane. I mean, and like Stamkos, I mean, the guy is what, 30, 34,
Yeah.
right? And he's got 65 points in 69 games, 29 goals, 36 assists.
It's crazy that he's a minus 23, right?
Yeah, I mean that's a number that glares, but I think that was a lot of in the beginning of the season. I mean they weren't scoring a lot of goals, they weren't playing that good of defense. He I don't know what his numbers in the beginning, like the split stats and stuff, as far as like the first half or the second half, but I think he kind of started out a little bit slower. But yeah, minus 23. Vasilevsky wasn't there for a little while, so I think they were letting up a little more goals than they probably would have liked. He's usually the great equalizer. But yeah, I mean, at 34, they're getting that kind of production out of him. I mean, like, even Hedman. Hedman's been around forever, and that guy's still being productive. They just, like you said, you can't count them out as a contender. I was in Vegas, and when I was there, I got to see Vegas and Tampa, and I'm sitting there, I'm like, this is a very good chance that this is a Stanley Cup matchup.
Right.
Like
I would love to see that too.
And there's no reason it can't be, because both teams, I mean, at the deadline, Vegas was only like a point or two. I think actually Vegas was out of the wild card spot at the deadline, and they went on a run. They made a bunch of moves, and they went on a freaking run. They got Hurdle, Hannafin, Manta. I mean, and then they just freaking just took off, and they're playing well. And I think they're winning again tonight, or they were winning when I checked.
Yeah. Also notable that Logan Thompson has taken over that starting job again. I think it's by default at this point because Hill's hurt again.
Yeah.
But...
Well, and that's when I was at that game. The guy that was sitting next to me was a big Golden Knights fan. We were talking. I'm like, and I think I said it to you. And in warmups, Hill didn't look like himself. Like, he was very shaky, letting up a lot of rebounds. Even in warmups, like it's warmups. They still need to go out there and feel the puck. That's why in warmups they say hit the goalie. In warmups, players aren't there to score. They're there to let the goalie feel the puck.
Mm-hmm.
So like you can see when he was battling the puck in the warm-ups, and then the first two goals that Tampa scored were off rebounds that he should have covered, and they were loose in the crease and they were banged in. And a couple of the goals, you can tell he was fighting the puck. And now I guess you said that he's injured, right? Or he was back on.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's one of those things where, with a team that good, you would think that because Adin Hill, you wouldn't think that he would have carried that team to a Stanley Cup last season,
right?
But he did, So I mean, you don't know.
I mean, yeah, it's not the worst thing because, there was a time where both of them went down. So, this kid Patera, he kind of needs the work because he needs to be ready. If they do find themselves in a playoff situation, and what if both, what Hill, he's had injuries all year. He hasn't stayed healthy, so that's an issue. And then
that's
if
been
Thompson
an issue
goes down, this guy's got to step in.
Yeah.
So,
and Hill's had a lot of injuries throughout his career. That's why he hasn't throughout his career he's only played. Yeah, he doesn't play full minutes, or he hasn't really, and he also hasn't been a number one goalie too.
He never really stood out. I've watched him. Like I think he was in Anaheim, and then then I saw him. I just had it. No, he definitely he was in Phoenix.
Oh, yeah.
Or Arizona, whatever you want to call it.
Do you see? Speaking of which, did you see the leak on what they're saying, the rendering of what the Coyotes' new building is supposed to look like? If it goes,
no, I have not.
It's fucking crazy. I mean, I don't know if it's just this grandiose, we're just gonna throw anything out because it's for the internet and whatever. But it's supposed to be this massive fucking complex, and it's, if they make it happen, it's gonna be easily the nicest building in the nicest arena in the league.
Mm-hmm.
And aside from them having, basically they're playing in a freaking college arena.
Mhm.
From what I hear other players saying, Phoenix and like going to Arizona, like players love going there. I don't know if it's that they love going there to play and then leave, but they seem to love going there as a stop off and as a destination on the schedule. They talk about going to Glendale and all that other stuff. In interviews, they say a lot of them say Glendale is one of the nicer towns to go to visit on the road while you're on the road. So I mean, there's no reason with that team that they're building, they can't start getting some actual like stars to go play there if they get a new arena.
Right.
So I mean, I would love to see it happen. Gary Bettman's been basically keeping them on life support, and the league has been basically keeping them afloat. And now they have an ownership that's like fighting to try and keep them around, and hopefully they can make it happen.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's been a long road. He's fought hard for them and under a lot of scrutiny as well for it.
So I digressed big time, stumbling because you had mentioned Phoenix or Arizona or whatever they go by now. The artist formerly known as Phoenix, Arizona Coyotes. So Aiden Hill, like you said, you never stuck out, right? You never.
He never stood out to me. He kind of just kind of like, always ended up with a backup role. And then, like you said, he kind of found himself hot at, he found himself playing really good at the best time.
The best possible time.
So however his career goes from here on out,
he won a Stanley Cup.
He won a Stanley, exactly, as a starter. And like a major part of the Stanley. It's not like he was like a part of the Stanley Cup run as a starter. No, he was a big part of that, I feel the same way about Binnington. I feel the same way about him. Like he's probably never going to mentally be right enough to win again, but he's won.
Yeah,
good for him. You can't take that away from him.
Yeah, you can't. And I don't know if like the moment got way too big for him after he won, and like you said, he was
amazing.
He was amazing. That run that they went on was insane. I mean, they went from what, like second to last place.
They didn't call him Winnington because he was losing.
Yeah. And now, I mean, he's not the reason that St. Louis has been losing this season either. I mean, I don't know exactly what his stats are. They're not what they were.
He's done all right. The backup's been more impressive. Hofer. Joel Hofer. Or Joel. I don't know what nationality he is. I'm pretending like I know. I'm like, like kind of fancy. Joel.
Joe Dirte?
Huh?
Joe Dirte? Shut up, Joe Dirt. It's Joe Dirt. Stop trying to be all fancy.
So Jordan Binnington. Part of that whole miracle season from being last place in the middle of the season to replacing the coach and then just pretty much tearing through everything.
I can't fucking spell.
What are you trying to spell? Jordan.
There we go. As we get there.
Yeah, look at that dopey fuck holding the cup up. Look at him. He's happy. We've seen the many faces of Jordan Binnington in the last few years.
He's 25. He's 51 games played. He's got 25.
No, he's having a good year.
Yeah. 283 goals against average, 912 save percentage.
I think that team surrenders a lot of shots too. So
respectable numbers for sure. I mean,
when you look at the goals against, he allows almost upwards of 3 goals a game.
Yeah,
but
I mean, when you look at a goal, I mean,
it's up at 90%, 91%.
Yeah, I mean, you want your starter to have more than 25 wins. But I mean, 25 wins as a starter 25 wins as a goalie in the NHL is not something to blink at.
Yeah.
In the season, you want your starter for a playoff team. You need your starter to have like 30 something wins. 30.
Well, what's he done lately? I see it says last 5 games. I'm pretty sure he's been good. for them to still be
Last
kind of
5
hunting
games.
for a playoff spot. I feel like 2 goals, 4-4, 2-1. So he had back-to-back games where he allowed 4 goals, but generally
Well,
he's
he's
allowed
three- he's-
2-1.
He's 3-1, I guess, in his last 5 games,
Mhm.
5 starts,
Okay.
which is
Yeah, I mean, look at those teams he's facing too.
yeah, it's fine. Yeah, Vegas, Minnesota, Colorado, Minnesota again, LA.
Minnesota's got they got a very talented, scary team actually. If you
Yeah.
look at them,
Yeah. There's a lot, a couple teams that underachieved based off of what their expectations were. I mean, obviously but like I think maybe they had more expectations than the league had for them. Like St. Louis, for example, and Minnesota, I don't think they were expecting to be on the outside looking in right now. But who I think we should talk about? I think we should talk about Nashville.
oh, how can you not?
Because Nashville, fucking Smashville, baby, they are back.
They are.
They're back.
The other night, I'm sitting there with my wife, and their streak is still active, mind you. I think, what is it, 17 or 18? It's 17 games, right?
Something crazy.
Is what it was at going into the game. So it's like 15-0-2, I think. And so most of them are wins.
Yeah.
And they go down 3-0 to Vegas in the first period.
You're like, oh, this is over.
No, that's not what it's the craziest thing. And if my wife, she's not watching, she doesn't watch me, but I swear, I
Her and
told
everybody
her, I'm
else
like,
aren't watching.
I go, oh, I'm like this. I called the game exactly. I was like, I didn't know if they'd win, but I said this game is gonna be 4-4 at some point, and I'm like, it's probably gonna be 4-1 before it's 4-4, and both happened. So. And then Nashville came back so they won in overtime.
Yeah, they won it.
And they're getting it from everywhere.
Yeah, and they're
You're
winning
looking
again
at their
tonight,
lines.
2-0.
I mean, of course, the top line of O'Reilly, Forsberg, and Gustav Nyquist is that line's been the heartbeat of that team.
Yep.
But you look, it's down the whole way. Luke Evangelista playing next to Novak, and you got Colton Sissons, Beauvillier, and Zucker has been really good.
Yeah.
And so then that fourth line, it's as good as any fourth line in the league. Saros is I mean, UC Saros is going into the season, he was like known as one of the elite goalies. So he refound his form, and the team is just it's a Barry Trotz thing, man.
Yeah,
that guy
he
knows how to come in and make things.
He's
right.
He's one of those guys that he talks, people listen, and he just has this like air about him where it's just like he just settles everything down. And you can see it in their play. Like there's no panic, there's no situation that they're just like, what do we do? Oh my God, like there's no. It's just they're down 3-0 to one of the best teams in the league. Like not standing wise, not, but on paper, yes, they're the defending Stanley Cup champions, and they're not panicking. Even there was another a couple nights ago they were down, and they made another run back when I was flying home from Vegas. They were down a couple goals, and next thing you know, they're tying it up and they're on a run. And it's just like they don't panic. And we had the privilege of watching what Trotz was able to do to our freaking mediocre Islander team.
Right.
And like
it's amazing.
Just think about like how good those teams were when Trotz was running the ship for Nashville, and like they just perennial contenders, and like always contenders.
He took a team with almost the same exact roster and it was a team that was last in defense and made them first.
Yeah.
It's the most insane turnaround. And it all had to do with just
attention to detail.
Yeah, attention to detail and having your players respect enough to listen. And the man, obviously, he's got a flawless reputation. You never hear a single bad thing about him. So it's not like there's nothing controversial about him.
Yeah.
What you see is what you get.
And the Nashville had a bunch of draft picks this season. They're going to be loaded. Like they made some moves in the offseason to try, to get some veteran players in here. They also lost a couple players that everyone's like, oh, that's going to change the team around. But at the beginning of the season, we were talking about, I mentioned teams that had inside expectations in the locker room to do things and maybe not outside expectations to really do things. Nashville was a team that was like a borderline team. It was like, if they don't make the playoffs, nobody's going to be surprised. If they do make the playoffs, people wouldn't probably be surprised. But this run that's like propelled them to the top, nobody expected this to happen. I mean, this is like the run that was it Edmonton that won 16 in a row?
Oh, earlier in the season.
Yeah. And this is similar. Like
very similar.
They're just rolling, and they're finding ways to win, and they're just, it's awesome to watch.
They're deep too.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't mention McCarron, Jankowski, Cole Smith.
Yeah.
Kiefer Sherwood has been scoring big goals. So, yeah, I mean, all the way down.
Yeah, Alexander Carrier is a good player. I mean, they got a lot of.
And they're playing the right way. Their defense, Fabro, Lazon. You got Yossi, McDonough, Shen, Barry.
Yeah.
I mean, looks like some of these guys are hurt, but yeah, they have a roster that, it doesn't look like much as far as when you look at other teams, like with these big name superstars, but they have a lot of good hockey players.
Yeah. They just play. They have players that are pros.
And that's the typical Barry Trotz team.
Yeah, exactly. He finds guys that just play well. They're going to play together. They're going to work off each other, and they're going to complement each other. And I think that's what I think he's good at finding those guys. Some teams like the Rangers, for example, last year, they were like, we're going to get every available superstar and we're going to trade for him at the deadline. And then we're going to win ourselves a cup. And it doesn't work that way. It just doesn't work. Usually it doesn't work that way, especially so close to the end of the season. Maybe if that was a team that was put together at the beginning of the season, they were able to gel, it could have maybe worked. But when you throw a team together, it's hard to make it work, which is why what you said with Tampa, they made those moves at the deadline and it's like just seamless.
Yeah.
So
some systems are also easier to jump into than others, but again, it's more than that. It's a player's ability to be able to adapt. So a lot goes into, a lot could be actually said for, coach, general manager, and player when all these things work out, because that's what it takes.
Oh, for sure.
But yeah, I mean, that's the West, like you said. Nashville's been tearing it up. Edmonton, they made those deals, and it's funny because it seems like they've lost a step.
Yeah,
and they're still winning games, but they were winning a lot more, I feel like, before they kind of fucked with things.
Yeah. No, and so I think maybe that the gel process, the whole like we mesh together, and sometimes it takes a little while.
And yeah, and as long as it, doesn't take longer than the first round of the playoffs, then you're good.
Yeah.
But and theoretically, when you look at what they did, that the move should make that team better. So, Henrique, maybe, we'll see what he's got tonight. I know I'm counting on him getting getting on the scoreboard, but I think you're going to see him pop up on the scoreboard a lot more, just because he's going to become.
They're winning 1-0 right now. McDavid on the board.
McDavid, oh, that's a surprise.
Yeah, and while we're on the on the Oilers, we might as well talk about Heyman scoring 50.
Yeah. Two guys scored 50 in the same night.
Same night. Griffin Reinhardt and
well, not that guy. That guy couldn't skate.
I
But
mean,
his brother,
Sam Reinhardt, the better version, not the one that we got stuck with.
We always get the worst guy.
We got
the better Lindros.
Yeah.
But anyway,
but he didn't last long enough for him to show it. That's the problem that sucks.
Yeah. So Sam Reinhardt, but like you said, Hyman, Zach Hyman. And he's
as far as I know, he doesn't have a brother that I can fuck up that played for the Islanders.
Nah, not yet. They'll find somebody named Hyman.
They'll find
from the UHL,
from the
unsanctioned hockey league.
But was it the fucking Giants, the Tokyo Giants?
Yeah,
traded for somebody from the Giants.
Not those Giants.
Not those Giants.
Oh man, yeah, but
such a fucking good movie.
Hyman with his 50. He just seems to be getting better and better, that guy, huh?
Yeah.
Because I remember when he scored, what was it like? Didn't he have like upper 30s with Toronto one year?
Yeah, he had,
or maybe even 40. I don't.
He had
a big year.
Yeah, this is a career year for him.
Even last year, I think he had a good year.
Let's see what his exact stats were.
Yeah, you're gonna look into that.
Zach Hyman.
Yeah, the Blues have taken the lead against Calgary, so they're going to get a little closer to the playoffs.
Yeah, they grab two more points that'll put them. But if Vegas wins, because that's Vegas has been playing really well lately. So let's see here.
A Shesterkin Georgiev duel going on right now in Colorado. 0-0. 7:14 to go in the second. So apparently it's just a dick swinging contest between the goalies.
Yeah. So Georgiev is one of those. It seems like the Rangers get the best out of their backup goalies, and then they just like ship them off, and then they don't really fully amass to what they were expected. So Hyman scored, I guess, tonight. Maybe did he score tonight? Because he's got 51 now.
It's Mr. McDavid.
Oh yeah, it was McDavid. Yeah.
So Zach Hyman.
So Hyman had 36 last year, 27 the year before that, and then his most with Toronto was 21, back-to-back 21s.
Oh wow.
15, 21, 21, 15, and then 27, 36, 51, which I guess I'm not going to fully say it's the Connor McDavid, Leon Draisaitl effect, but it's a lot easier to score goals when you have one of those two guys.
I'm sure. Yeah.
But I mean, he still has to score goals, and he still has got a filthy shot, and he's still, I'm not saying it's all them, but when you go from barely touching 20 to now scoring 51, it is what it is. It just is what it is.
Right.
You can say whatever you want. Draw from it what you
look at his plus minus year after year. He's a damn good hockey player.
He is. And I'm not saying he's not a good player.
Right.
I'm just saying that,
he's benefiting from the superstars around him, but that's good because not everybody can hang and play at the speed of those superstars.
That's it. He still has to put himself in the position to score goals. He still has to find the open areas. And even when he finds the open areas and he puts himself in those positions, he still has to beat world-class goaltenders.
Right. He's literally Matt Molson.
Yeah, you took the words out of my mouth. He is exactly like,
and maybe a little bit more because Molson never had 50.
But you know what? 30 goals when Matt Molson was scoring 30. 30 goals then is probably 40 something now, if you think about it.
Yeah.
Just based off of look at the players that are scoring 30 now. They're kind of similar to the player that Matt Molson was. So like. Back then, I could see him scoring, 35, 40 goals now because I think he capped out at 33. 34. Because I think in a 3-year span, the stat, and I only know this because I actually I actually year after year I had a running bet with a buddy, Chin. You know Chin.
Mm-hmm.
So I had a running bet with Chin that every year that Matt Moulson was on the Islanders, if he scored 30, Chin owed me money. And every year I cashed in because every year he scored 30. And every time fucking Moulson scored a goal, I would send fucking Chin in capital letters, Matty Mo, let's go, baby. Woo! And he heard that 90 something times in 3 years. And in 3 years, Matt Moulson scored. It was a stat. In 3 years, Matt Moulson had almost 100 goals, which made him one of the higher goal scorers in a 3-year span in the history of the Islanders.
Mm-hmm.
You know, excluding Bossy, who scored 50 and 50 and all that other nonsense, Trotty and stuff like that. But like, he was up there with those guys with his scoring pace, because 3 straight years of 30 goals is something that not many Islanders have done. If we, I think
Ziggy did it.
Yeah, Ziggy.
And like maybe Marius Tchaikovsky.
Yeah, right.
Or maybe he just got there once to 30, I think, and he was a 20-something goal guy.
Yeah, I think Tchaikovsky got like 27, 26, 28.
Okay.
I could be wrong, but I think he was very close to that. Let's look it up.
What about Miro Shatan?
Miro Shatan. I don't know if because he wasn't around that. I don't know if he was around that long with the Islanders to like be that prolific, like with them.
Yeah, Marius Tchaikovsky with the Islanders. He actually had 35 goals and 30 goals in back-to-back seasons.
Okay.
Those were bookended by 21 and 22 goal seasons. So he had a pretty good run.
Yeah, that's a solid run, absolutely. Especially because when you think of Marius Tchaikovsky, you don't really think of, and in that time when the Islanders weren't scoring many goals, and you had him scoring goals, and Marius Tchaikovsky wasn't your prototypical big time goal scorer. So,
I mean, so when the Islanders got him from Edmonton, right? He was coming off a 26 goal year with Edmonton.
Okay.
And then so the Islanders got him. He played 68 games, had 12. But then from that moment on, he scored 21, 35, 30, 22, went to Montreal for like a half a season, and then came back to us and scored 25. So he had
like what,
5 consecutive 20-plus goal seasons with the Islanders.
That's
just the seasons were split up by like 2 years.
Okay, I mean that's
it was one stint with Montreal in between.
No, that's fucking solid.
So
that's a great.
Yeah, we liked him.
Yeah, he was good for us.
And you're looking up Shatan?
Miro Shatan. He had.
It's funny. He almost looks like Mike Modano a little bit.
He had for the Islanders, he had 35, 27, 16, 17.
Okay.
No. Just 35, 27, and 16. Yeah, he wasn't around that long with the Islanders. Only three seasons. But he scored. He put up some nice numbers. 40, 33, 29, 37, 26, 29, 35, 27.
He was a Ranger killer.
Yeah. He had 1, 2,
with
3,
the Sabres
4,
first.
5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 straight seasons of 20 plus goals. And then he had 1, 2, 3 of those with 30 plus goals, and then 140 goal season in there. That's a solid run for 10 straight years, for a decade straight.
Yeah, for sure.
You don't realize how good of a career some of these guys have, because they just go to the Islanders and usually die. But I mean, 35 and 27 back to back for the Islanders in 2005-6 and 2006-7 when the team was fucking brutal.
Yeah.
You know? So I think we talk too much about the Islanders on here. I hate the Islanders, even though I love the Islanders.
That's not much to talk about this year.
What's up?
Not much to talk about this year. So that all came from Zach Hyman and how other players were like, you know, like maybe Matt Molson was kind of like he is, where he's ends up in the same spot and all that. But like, so now what about Sam Reinhart? Because he's got 50 goals and
he's still pretty. He's young.
He is young, and so this is a guy that,
and he's in his walk year too, so he's going to get paid next year.
I mean, he was drafted really high. I think wasn't he second overall, or
he was,
might have been first actually, number 2 pick overall in the 2014 draft. I think a defenseman went first that year.
He was a Buffalo pick. Buffalo, and he's got 73. He's got 85 points, 51 goals, 34 assists.
Correct. He's plus 22.
So his career arc, he had 23 goals his first full season with
Sabres.
With the Sabres.
The dysfunctional Sabres.
Yeah, which is solid for a rookie. Then 17, 25, 22, 22, 25, 33, 31, 51. So he's scored 20. I mean, 79 games, 17 goals, close enough to 20 where you can say that he's a perennial 20 goal scorer.
Right.
I'm not going to say he scored 23 one year, 17 the next year, averages 20 goals a season. And then the rest of the time he's been over 20 goals a season. So he scored 20 or more every season he's been in the league since he's been in the league. And he's just so happens now he's in his walk year. But I mean, he's 33, 31, 51. So the numbers.
Yeah, he got into the 30. He's definitely more comfortable now.
Yeah.
If you look, it's all with the new team that he found his real stride.
And again, I'm not saying that, but he's playing on a, like you said, Buffalo is dysfunctional as fuck. You know, like they went on a nice little run. They have some pieces that if they can finally get some structure and some actual like coaching and stuff, they're going to have a good team.
Right.
But right now they're still just dysfunctional. And I mean, look, Eichel, they couldn't get Eichel right. And the guy goes, you know, and freaking Vegas takes a flyer on him and was a huge part of their Stanley Cup run last year. And he's hurt. Is he back in the line?
Eichel's back, and they've been actually since he's been back. It's really been where they've been ridiculous.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. Because he had an assist on the first goal when I was at the game the other night. So yeah, he's back, and he was hurt for a little while this season, but he's been a huge pickup for them. He's just one of the guys that are kind of seem to be disgruntled about the whole everything that goes on in Buffalo. There's a couple of guys so I mean, he leaves Buffalo and he gets to a situation where Florida has, you know, probably they have more skilled players, they have more tight knit group, and they just have a better structure, all around structure, better coaching staff, and you know, a couple more veterans. You know, they have a lot more veterans on the team, which helps. And he made a seamless transition, so good for him. You love to see that stuff, you know.
Their back end is just it's just not fair. Their back end is
if
serious.
What do you think? Florida is probably the favorite
in the East.
Yeah.
I like Tampa.
Tampa, yeah.
I think for merit, based on what they've done, Florida. But I look at the two teams. See, Florida's defense is the only thing I have the edge in.
Yeah, and goaltending they're probably similar, right?
No, I mean,
You give the edge
you
to
got
Vasilevsky
Super
probably.
Bob. If it's Super Bob, yeah, but you got to count on that. Sometimes Bobrovsky isn't, and if he's not,
the
then
one thing though, because when he first came over from Columbus and he signed that deal, and in Columbus I think he left, or he might have won a Vezina, or he was coming off a Vezina finalist or something, and he left Columbus. He goes to and he signs a huge deal, and he was not good, and he wasn't really good for most of last season, and then he got hurt, and Lyons comes in, and they get some good play from him, and they sneak into the playoffs, and then Super Bob takes over, and and since then though, it's like whatever treatment he did, maybe he fucking went the and I this is just fucking me fucking around, but maybe he went for the Brett Favre fucking ayahuasca fucking treatment, and he found himself or something, you know. But like, I'm not saying that's what actually happened. Don't go and drug test the guy now because I fucking fucked around and said something stupid. But like, whatever it is, he found himself, and he's fucking playing awesome. And since they found their way to sneak into the playoffs, and they took out Boston in Game 7, they've been probably the most consistent, best team in the league over, I guess, almost a year stretch now, because they snuck into the playoffs the last day of the season, which is now basically almost a year from now. A year ago today. A year ago from where we are.
Playing very well too. Like they won there. They was one of those teams. They won their way in.
Yeah, but I mean, Edge goes to Tampa when it comes to winning. Veteran winners and proven winners, and the leadership, and I mean, skill wise, they could up front. Depth line for line. I would love to see that. I hope it's not a first round matchup. I hope it's not gonna be. It doesn't look like it will be, but I hope it's not. That should be like reserved for the finals, the Eastern Conference Finals.
Put it anywhere in the playoffs, I'll take it.
Yeah,
I'll take it because I think that's the team that the Panthers have to worry about. And generally, the Panthers, I know that there are times they have their way with the Lightning. It's kind of like an interesting rivalry.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, it's Florida, man. It's Florida rivalry, and it is one of the better ones in hockey, I think,
for sure,
especially as far as fans go.
Yeah, and it's good to see too, because it's not really like your traditional, quote unquote, like hockey market.
Mm-hmm.
It's a warm, obviously the warmer weather, and I don't know if I mentioned this on air, but when Tampa played Calgary in the finals, I was in St. Pete, which is like right outside of.
I know where it is. I've been there. Yeah. I used to live in that area.
So, just as an idea for the, I don't know, half a person that's paying attention to us, St. Pete.
It's probably in that area.
Yeah, yeah. So the St. Pete Times is the major newspaper for that area, and they did all the coverage for the Stanley Cup. It was a crazy. I actually have the Stanley Cup newspaper from when they won. I have it at the house because I had to save it from the following day, and it was cool as shit. I mean, just watching the games on TV. All the bars that we went to were packed out. They all had, and you don't know the difference. I mean, I don't know if they were, bandwagon fans just jumping on because, that's what was happening and it was drawing in people or whatever. But everybody was into it. Everybody was wearing a shirt. Everybody was wearing a freaking hat. Everybody had the freaking banners out. And the one thing that really stuck out was outside the stadium. They had a huge screen, and there was like 5,000 people just sitting outside watching the game, and it was beautiful. And I was like, oh my God, this is the life. It's like 75, 80 degrees, and they're just watching a hockey game, loving life.
Was that 2003?
2003, 2004 or 2000. Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Funny. And you live down there?
No, I didn't live there. So, I was dating this girl, and instead of doing whatever after prom thing that she was doing with her friends, we just decided to go down to Florida instead. So it was like her after prom thing because I was a little bit older than her, and I guess she didn't want me to be the weird older guy hanging out with her friends. So I was like a year or two older than her, and she was 18 and I was like 19, or I was like 19 turning 20 or whatever. And she was like, I don't want you to, be out of high school hanging out with my high school friends or whatever, like a weirdo. I don't know. Maybe she just didn't want me to see the dude that she was fucking because she was fucking everybody but me. Well, everybody, including me. She was my wife, the dirty, dirty whore. Yeah, so I digress. But that's why we were there. We were there as like a
Gotcha.
I took her there as like a graduation type thing. Her aunt lived down there in Clearwater.
You drove?
Nah, fuck no.
Okay.
We flew down there and then we went over that crazy ass fucking bridge.
Yeah, I know.
That's
I know.
fucking crazy long and high.
The Skyway Bridge?
Yeah, that shit is creepy as fuck.
It's like the court. Yeah, the Skyway Bridge.
Yeah. Fuck that shit.
Yeah, I'm well familiar. I lived in that area. I went to a lot of Lightning games.
Oh yeah.
I lived in that area back when the team was, I don't want to say new because they were around for like 7-8 years.
Okay.
I think they were inaugural in like 91, right?
Yes.
92.
I think 91, 92 or 90, something like that.
Yeah, I lived there in 98. So
okay.
the team
so
still
fair.
sucked.
Yeah, still.
Vinny Lecavalier still wore number 8.
Mm-hmm.
And the team was so bad that you could literally go to Checkers, get a big Buford value meal, and you get a voucher to go to games. So I ate a lot of Checkers. I went to a lot of hockey games.
Yeah. Love Checkers and I love hockey. So perfect marriage. Yeah, the big Bufords, man. Those things were crazy. I love those things. When I ate meat, you don't even eat meat.
No, I don't eat that shit anymore.
I don't eat that shit anymore either, but I remember the big Bufords.
Mm-hmm.
Those things were nuts.
Oh, yeah. 2 for $5. I eat 2.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, they look back on like, what was he doing?
Checkers fries still kicks ass. I think
I eat those.
Checkers fries are probably at the top of the list for fast food French fries. I don't know about you, but Checkers has got to be up there.
Checkers, Popeyes. I like
Popeyes, yeah. Popeyes is solid for sure. Definitely.
Popeyes fries. Good shit. Good shit.
Popeyes chicken is the shit.
So, yeah. So what else you got written down on that list there?
So I just was writing down a couple of some of the bigger names to move at the deadline and how they've been playing since the trade.
Okay.
Since the trade. So we talked about Hurdle, Hannafin, and Monta going to Vegas and how they've basically seamlessly fit right in.
Mm-hmm.
We don't really have to go through their exact stats because they're playing very well. But I did bring up, I wanted to talk about Getzel because it just came out that he said that he wanted to stay in Pittsburgh. And a lot of these guys, they're not going to turn around and be like, I was going to fucking bolt out of there as soon as possible anyway. That's not, from everything watching hockey for as long as I have, and I'm sure you, the one thing that these guys are humble and they're fucking not going to say anything to rattle the most of them aren't going to say anything.
Horvat kind of ruffled some feathers.
Yeah, I mean, he was like, I mean, what he said was, I guess, I mean, I'm sure he's eating his words now because I'm sure he would have a lot more fun playing in front of
this year.
He's having a lot more fun playing in front of those fans as he is opposed to playing in front of half-empty arenas now.
Mm-hmm.
But for the most part, they kind of just, go about their way. They thank them, thank the fans for their time, blah, 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 whatever. But he said he wanted to stay, and basically Dubas was like, we have another direction. You're not a part of it. So, basically kick rocks. And they traded him. And since the trade, it's been working out, I'd say pretty solid for, which actually we didn't even talk about Carolina being as a pretty solid contender to come out of the East either also. Although,
Well, their trades worked out well for them.
yeah. So Getzel, 9 games, he's got 12 points, 2 goals, 10 assists. He's fit right in. I think they have him playing on the second line.
He's been in a couple different spots. He's played with Kuznetsov. He's playing with Aho now, I think.
He's playing with, but yeah, Kuznetsov is playing with Nikas a lot. Those two have been gelling.
Yeah.
And
that's what they did, huh?
Yeah. So, in case you guys haven't realized, but we are live. So, if you see us kind of searching around for some answers for what we're
they took away what I was looking for. I hate when that happens.
uh,
oh, there it is.
anybody put in some live bets on the Coyotes when they were down 2-0. Might be looking pretty solid right now. They tied it up 2-2, and they're on the power play.
Oh, snap.
And Casey Middlestat, actually, he was one of the guys that I wanted to bring up because I wanted to talk about that trade. He just scored to make it 1-0 for the Avs.
Nice. I had him and Devon Taves on a player prop.
Well, Devon Taves had nothing to do with it.
Devon Taves will score the game-winning goal. You want a prediction? Boom. There it is.
Yeah. The Islanders played I forgot when they played Colorado last, and I always tell myself, I got to take the fucking anytime any ex-Islander plays the Islanders, they always fucking
Zach Parise.
Yeah,
that's another guy I wanted to take tonight. But you were talking about Gensel, so he's playing with Aho right now, and Jarvis.
Okay,
because Seth Jarvis is also a guy. He was on a 5-game goal scoring streak.
Yeah.
So he's found his scoring touch, and he's another one of those young guys that is supposed to be like a threat, like a goal scoring threat, and he's becoming that. Kuznetsov plays with Martinuk and Nechas, so they have 2 big trade pieces figured into their top 2 lines. They got Svechnikov, Stoll, and Teravainen as a third line. I think that would be the Islanders' first line.
That would be the Islanders' first line.
That would be the Islanders' first line. And then Drury, Kotkaniemi, and Nason on the fourth line. So
that's a deep team. That's a good team.
Forget about their D. Slavin, Burns, Shea, Pesci, Orlov, and Chatfield.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've seen, but that guy Chatfield has a fucking bomb for a shot.
Yes, he does.
But I digress.
Jarvis had 3 points tonight, goal and 2 assists.
That's what I'm saying.
Getzel had another 2 assists. Kuzi had an assist.
Yeah,
I mean, the team is firing on all cylinders, and I think they're one which is starting to, and I think he's starting to answer for us. Their goaltending was the one thing that people I think were like, what's going to happen?
Freddie or Kochekov tonight?
Let's see.
Piotr.
So it was James Reimer for.
That's the sound of an iPhone hitting the ground.
It was Frederick Anderson.
All right, so that's good because that's another guy. He spent a lot of the year hurt.
Yeah, he was hurt. He was hurt for a while,
and he came back. He wasn't fantastic, but I guess he's
he's finding his way. So, and the one thing that the Hurricanes love to do, they love to have that 1-2 punch in net, and they've been running that, which sometimes over the years it seems like that was their downfall because they didn't have one guy. And they were like cycling in, even in the playoffs, they would cycle in, cycle out. And it's like, that doesn't work. Let your guy fucking play. Let him get fucking hot. And I think it kind of ran its course once they hit. Because I think as good as Carolina has been, I think they're like, Brindamore and Carolina is like 0-12 or some like in conference finals games. Or something like some crazy. I like he's obviously they've never won, but like I don't know, they're like some ridiculous number in the minus side in conference finals games, and like that's why they haven't made it. But like I think it's like that goaltending 1-2 thing. Like just let a goalie get hot, let him ride, and then you just go from there. You can't have a goalie play a game, he doesn't play well, and then you put the next, you put somebody else in there, and then he doesn't play well. I don't know, just one or the other. Pick a lane. That's my opinion. But
so who else?
Who else?
Hurdle. We haven't seen much of him. He's been hurt, right?
Yeah.
Hannafin's made a difference.
Monta's playing well. Let's see. So Duclair and Dumba are 2 pickups, big for Tampa.
And Tampa needed to address D. And they did. I mean, Dumba was a big name defenseman for a while, as far as when he was a free agent.
Yep.
People were wondering where he was going to go. He went and signed in Arizona, and now they traded him. So he's in a good spot.
He's in a good spot, yeah.
And they're in a good spot because that's good depth for them. And they have guys like I don't know how you pronounce his name, Perbix or Perby. I don't know if the IX, I don't know if that's French. I don't know what the hell. But Perbix.
Yeah.
And they have what's his name? Some new guy, not Liljegren. That's this a Swedish guy. They got a Swedish guy on D. That's he's not Hedman. He's a Swedish guy.
That's
He's another Swedish guy. They didn't play tonight, did they?
No.
Yeah, that sucks. That's why their lineup's not there.
Oh, they played yesterday. 1-3-1.
Yeah, they did.
Box score.
I mean, you look at a lot of the trade. Even Tampa, like they made the trade they made last year. Hagel, like he's went on some nice, runs of games.
Lilleberg.
There you go,
Lilleberg.
That's got to be Swedish, huh?
Yeah, definitely. Was it Elias Lilleberg?
Yeah. Swedish plus defenseman equals good idea.
And this kid
most
Radish
of the time.
Is good.
Huh?
This kid Radish.
Oh yeah, Darren Radish. Forgot about him. And Chernik. How do I forget about Chernik? He's just the underappreciated guy. It's been around. So yeah, I mean that added to what they needed there. And then you looked at going down to talked about Jason Zucker already with Nashville, what they've been doing.
Yeah.
And
Middlestat and Byram.
Yeah.
The 1-2 swaps.
That's obviously that's a move for next year.
Yeah.
Buffalo's not making any runs at anything this year.
But they had a nice piece, a nice defenseman.
Really nice defenseman. Those are hard to come by. And they traded Casey Middlestat, but look at the group of forwards that team has. You can afford that type of swap.
Yeah, definitely.
So that's good. And then
that's really it. Toffoli and Monahan for the Jets.
Yeah, we talked about Monahan when it first happened. The guy was tearing it up. They had a Toffoli. He had a 30-something goal guy on the wing, and we'll see how that pans out. We'll talk more about that. I mean, it looks like the Jets have hit a little bit of a low point. Yeah, I mean, they struggled. They didn't beat the Islanders. I don't think they beat the Devils.
No, they didn't beat the Devils.
They beat the Rangers, or did the Rangers? I think they beat the Rangers 4-2 or something like that.
They lost tonight against the Golden Knights.
Yeah, so right away, I could tell you straight up they've lost like 3 of their last 4 games or 4 of their last 6 or something like that.
The Islanders have to play the Lightning next. That's a loss for sure. They are.
Kucherov's going to have like 7 points.
They're 4-5-1 in the last 10 games.
Yeah, it's not good. Not good for them.
Nope. The Flyers are 3-5-2. That's who the Islanders are chasing. Red Wings are 3-6-1. That's who the Red Wings play Florida next. The Islanders are also 3-6-1. But
That's tough. Red Wings go from Carolina to Florida, huh?
Yeah, that's good for us. But the Lightning 8-1-1 in their last 10 games.
Yeah. And that's a test. You know, you got to beat these teams you want to get in. I'm not, there's the mathematically eliminated, and then there's just the, they're eliminated.
Yeah.
But
I mean, yeah, we, in theory, because right now they're 4 points out of a playoff spot.
And they have 20
same,
possible points to get.
Yeah.
Or is there 84 games? I don't remember.
82 games. So they have 20 possible points. And Washington also has 72 games left. Detroit has 73. Philadelphia has 74 games. So they have 2 games in hand on Philadelphia, but they're 5 points behind Philadelphia. So they're not technically.
Well, Philly lost to Montreal tonight.
Yeah.
And Washington lost to Toronto tonight. Yep. So they got a lot of help tonight, and they won.
Yeah.
And Detroit lost.
Yeah. Everybody lost ahead of them. Yep.
I mean, I saw a license plate once said "too little, too late," and I thought it was really clever.
But then even a team like New Jersey, they're still hovering around 76 points. They got 73. They're at 73 games, right? So at 5 points out with I guess 9 games to go, they're not mathematically eliminated. They're not by any. They're not. But I mean,
they have to win a lot.
Yeah, they have to win a lot. The only teams and then we'll go. The Rangers, Carolina, Boston, and Florida. The only teams in the entire league that have clinched their spot, which is weird because with 99 points, Dallas hasn't clinched a spot. They have to have.
No, it's just because of the division alignment or something.
Yeah, but they have 99 points. Even if Colorado catches them with 99 points, they're not going to fall out of a playoff spot. LA Kings have 87.
Oh, Dallas?
Yeah.
Oh, I know the math. It's any kind of St. Louis. What is it? Any kind of St. Louis loss tonight was going to clinch for Dallas.
Okay.
I think. Or if Dallas got a point in their game, they were going to clinch. Yeah, they're like right there. Yeah, they're pretty much clinched.
St. Louis won 5-3.
Yeah, so if Dallas wins, they're in.
Dallas is winning 1-0.
Yeah.
I don't know. But it's interesting because, this team's still fighting. Things still happen. And you'll have to see it this late in the season. I think that's about it. Oh, one thing before we do go. This is unrelated to hockey, but it's just a sports thing in general.
Mm-hmm.
I was listening to the radio this morning, and they were saying that the NBA is going to impose a rule where players have to play 65 games a season. I don't know if I misheard it or what it is, but basically because they have such a fucking problem keeping these guys on the court with all this fucking load management bullshit. And they take off for this reason and they take off for that reason and they never play. So now they're trying to make it so that they have to play. And if they're not, then I guess you have to put them on the fucking IR or something.
I don't understand anything that has to do with that. And I don't even try. I always looked at it like this. Any sport where if you look at someone the wrong way and you get called for a foul, I'm just not. Let's be less dramatic about it. You literally just bump into someone. That's real. That's a foul. Just because you were shooting, I touched him. That's a foul.
Oh, so this is what it is. Unless they play 65 games, then they can't. Then they're not going to be allowed to win certain awards.
Oh, so it's an eligibility for awards?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was some kind of major consequence. If you can't play in the playoffs then if you don't play 65 games.
Oh, no, that'd be crazy.
Yeah, my other gripe with basketball was goaltending. It's
and they have to play 20 minutes a game? So why does it have to be so stringent? What the fuck is so weird? Whatever. Anyway, all right. Well,
Don't you think defensive players in basketball should be able to jump up and knock the ball out? If a player can literally run up to the hoop with a ball in and doesn't have to like skillfully throw the
anything?
ball anywhere, just has to slam it in, then shouldn't a defensive player be able to bat out a ball that's thrown in?
yeah, you think so? Makes sense.
No, but it's like, nope, that's goaltending. That team gets the points anyway because it might have gone in.
It might, yeah.
What the fuck kind of rule is that?
Oh yeah, I don't understand any freaking basketball rules. I hate
I'd
basketball.
probably like the game if the rules weren't so bad.
It's cool to like when these guys are on and they're fucking just like hitting threes and they're like the ball just like effortlessly goes in.
Oh
And
yeah, no, it's
Like it's fucking awesome
there's
to
certain
watch.
guys you watch. It's just like, I mean, I've watched Steph Curry in the height of his
Yeah. Oh yeah.
and I'm just like, how?
Yeah. For
How?
sure. You have
Just
to.
from all the different spots. Boom, boom, nothing but the net. Boom. What the fuck? How?
Which is crazy. It's crazy. But when you start breaking down the rules and like all that, I can't.
Yeah, I
get
don't
into
like
it.
I don't know, the rules. This, everything's
Everybody's
a violation.
complaining. LeBron James is fucking annoying as shit.
Well, I'm not gonna start trashing people that could have me wiped out like that. That's for sure. I learned that. Let's not. I mean, I think the one person watching probably doesn't know LeBron, so we're good. We're good.
You don't know LeBron, do you? He said no. All right,
Said
good.
no.
All
We
right.
were talking about a different LeBron James anyway.
Yeah,
Don't
yeah.
worry. It's not the same guy. We're not the basketball player.
All right.
Oh.
So on that note, I think we've spoken enough about stuff, and our producer / engineer / statistician /
Slash getting redder and redder by the minute.
/ buddy old pal, friend of ours. So yeah, on that note, thank you guys for joining us. Have a happy Easter. Thank you.
Oh shit.
Thank you. And we'll see you guys next time.
I can't keep up anymore. Easter used to be in April, the middle of April. Now it's at the end of March. I don't get it.
Yep.
My name's Rich. Have a nice night. Legitimate gripe.